The British Crown usually stays out of controversial politics, but climate change is not controversial. This year, the Intergovernmental Panel Against Climate Change warned us that if we ought to reduce increasing Earth temperature by 0.5 degree, we ought to reduce our carbon emissions by 45% in 2030. And that's why Prince Charles from the United Kingdom has warned us that if we ought to achieve this goal, we must make the necessary policy changes by 2020. According to the International Energy Agency, 69% of carbon emissions come from power generation. And according to Deloitte, 45% of this power generation comes from coal plants, a very pollutable source of energy. But Deloitte has a positive perspective for 2030. According to the latest foreseeable report, 20% of power generation is going to come from natural gas, 37% from solar and wind, and yet there is 11% still to be defined of where this source of generation is going to come from. An opportunity for us to achieve our goal in 2030. In this sense of urgency, gas turbines are our best bet to achieve this goal and save our planet in 2030. And they are our best bet because they are reliable, they are feasible, and they have a small environmental impact. The first patent for a gas turbine was filed in 1899 in the United States. In 1930, gas turbines have allowed air travel through jet propulsion. It's been 100 years of research and development of two industries, power generation and aviation industry, which has allowed us to master this incredible technology. And how does it work? It consists of three phases. First, air gets compressed, causing the pressure and the temperature to increase. Then fuel is injected, a huge explosion occurs, causing the turbine to spin, moving a generator and therefore creating energy. Like I said, we have mastered this technology. It's been 100 years compared to the research and development of other renewable energies like solar and wind that hasn't been in the market for more than 50 years. In those 100 years, we learned how to make single cluster blades. What does this mean? Well, it's simple. Basically, we have only one alloy, very stable, allowing a blade to resist twice as much heat. How does it translate into efficiency? Well, now we can have even bigger and huger explosions, causing that from the same amount of fuel, create twice as much power. Currently, the last Siemens gas turbine, the 9000 HL, is capable of generating enough power to power a city of 3.3 million cities, a city as big as Berlin. According to Deloitte, solar and wind are not the most reliable technology. Actually, according to Deloitte, there is going to be a new gas renaissance. And that's one reason. Solar and wind have a very small environmental impact, but when there is no wind and when there is no sun, we risk the security of our supply. And that event has already happened. They're called dark dawn rooms, and these are the several instances recorded between 2010 and 2016 when the demand in these moments actually increased, but the security of the supply actually decreases. In this stance, gas turbines are independent from the weather. They can run no matter what as long as there is fuel powering this technology. But some might say that the future of renewable and the future of the earth is to develop batteries, a technology capable of storing the energy and releasing whenever there is no wind or sun. However, according to Christina Valimikin, an analyst at Elsevier, this lithium battery is far more pollutable than existing coal plants. A very risk for our environment and for our goal of reducing 45% of carbon emissions. The way that these batteries are pollutable are because they're usually displaced into the ocean, causing the marine life to decrease. And it happens that our ocean is also capable of absorbing CO2, enough to actually filter all of those emissions that we're generating. But gas turbines are not only reliable, they are also more affordable. They are a profitable source of power. In this chart, we can see that in order to generate a kilowatt-hour nuclear facility, we ought to invest $10 million, while gas turbines are the cheapest source of generation initial investment with only $2.5 million. But it doesn't stay there. When it comes to maintenance, nuclear plants cost around $6.5 million to generate those kilowatt hours, while a gas turbine remains at $2.5, the cheapest power generation source to maintain. And the same story is repeated with solar and wind. In this graph, in the left, we can see how solar and onshore wind is actually more expensive compared to the gas turbine. We're talking about the investment necessary to generate the same amount of energy generated by a gas turbine in onshore wind is almost $1.6 billion. While with a gas turbine, we're not even talking about $1 billion, only $900 million. When it comes to pollution, according to the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, gas turbines actually generate 50% less CO2 emissions than current and existing coal plants. We must remember, our goal is 45%, and our gas turbines reduce its emission by 50%. But gas turbines not only go there, gas turbines are far versatile. They can run on oil, they can run on natural gas, on biofuel, and even hydrogen. Well, according to the same engineers from the American Society, if we ought to rule gas turbines with biofuel, we're actually going to be reducing our carbon emissions by 98%. Almost as much emissions at a solar or wind farm. Gas turbines are feasible, are profitable, and are efficient. They are our best bet to save the world by 2030.